What is going on, everybody? A little bit of a scuff transition there, but what is going on, everybody? We are back with a Rise of Kingdoms stream, and as you can see by the thumbnail as well as the title, the KVK looks to be officially over. 1960 and Earth Camp were able to come back from the deficit that we had and take over the Kingsland. Man, what a crazy KVK this was. Again, shout out to our allies in Earth Camp, my fellow kingdom mates in 1960, and then of course our opponents in 1093, 2027, and then of course Water Camp, who was fighting Earth Camp. So this was probably one of the crazier Kingsland I've been a part of, and I just wanted to do the Kingsland's justice by kind of recapping what happened in my perspective. We're going to be looking through a bunch of, old clips, old streams, and going through those while also talking about, the Kingsland, giving it a good little recap here. As well as we will be going through all of the stats that we have available right now. We have the Autarch. We could see the Autarch points. Crazy spoilers, but it's kind of crazy how much healing and kill points some of these guys got, how many deads some of these guys got as well, especially Ghost Rider from 1093, shout out. And then we're also going to be going through the rankings, the alliance rankings, kill rankings, individual rankings. And then we're going to be looking at my stats, how many deads, how many resources, how much KP we've gained, as well as all of that. So should be a pretty eventful stream. I wasn't able to do this last KVK and I really regretted it. So I wanted to make sure that we got this done this KVK for sure. Let me say hi to chat real quick though. We got Kelvin. We got Bobski. Yo, shout out for the first like. Hopefully, you guys like the stream. Send out to your homies. Get it up in the algorithm. We got 93T Elvis Assistant. GG's, we tried, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be going over this in the recap, but that was probably like last KVK against 2377. I thought we are gonna lose, but it was like for a moment. For the first 2 days of Kingsland, I genuinely could not see a win condition from 960. Like, it was absolutely insane because I just couldn't see a world where 960 could come back, where 1093 would consistently burn us, and then during their downtime we were struggling to burn their flags, and they're just consistently gaining territory after territory after territory on this right side, threatening the cuts. But we will go over all of that. Turn Nama. Yo, what's up? Right in my country. Evil Bacon. I'll move to 60 GT. I guess so. But yeah, let's go over the streams real quick. I have a whole lineup here as well as a little bit of touch points. You can see I've streamed a lot throughout this KVK. And instead of making you guys go through each individual stream to see what happened, we're going to go over the key touch points of each stream and each day of KVK so that we can give a good recap here. Okay, so I guess we could give some context before KVK, which is the Seawill podcast that we had with Redline. Seawill and Redline. Essentially, this was kind of when we got the matchmaking and when we got the allies, and the recap of this is neither side from what Seawill was saying. Both 960 and 1093 didn't really set up this KVK. For example, last KVK 2377, we wanted to fight 2377. A bunch of other kingdoms came in to join the party. This KVK was kind of more impromptu. You guys might remember that 960 was put into no match found like 3 times this off season, because we just couldn't find a match. We were just trying to find a relatively laid back, chill KVK, not a farming KVK by any means, but something to recover from 2377, and we just couldn't find that KVK. There was no match, maybe a 1v3 situation or something like that. So what ended up happening was we went to max skip alongside 1093 after that 2377 KVK, and we ended up in the same map. Now, you know, that wasn't expected. I'm pretty sure both 1093 and 1960 are both tired of each other and have a lot of respect for each other. This is matchup number 3 against these kingdoms. Ally number 2, they've been in like 5-6 KVKs together. So both sides know each other pretty well. And then when we saw the campmates or whatever, when we saw the allies, it was pretty obvious that from the jump that it was pretty obvious that Earth Camp was favored over Water Camp. So both sides, what Seawell said in this podcast, was both sides wanted to have Earth Camp as allies. I get a lot of questions, how does 960 get the best allies every KVK? In this particular case, the way that it was laid down, or the way that allies came to be, was based off of Earth Camp. Earth Camp had the option of either allying with 1960 or allying with 1093, and at the end of the day, Earth Camp decided to ally with 1960. So even Seawell said, which is, by the way, Seawell is a king of 960. He said that we have a 60% chance of winning the KVK just due to allies. We're a little bit favored in allies, but at the same time, the reason why we wanted Earth Camp was because of the sheer numbers. Can you imagine if 1093 had Earth Camp? Earth Camp has the 2 Imperium Kingdoms, has 1818, a lot of firepower. Also has 3213, which is a young Imperium, has 2 main alliances. And then, of course, has the other kingdoms as well. The thing about Water Camp, they're really strong, but I think a lot of people from 2975 migrated out. So they were like running 4.5 kingdoms. So if we were at Water Camp and Wind Camp versus us, and if it was Earth Camp and Wind Camp versus 10 versus 960 and Water Camp, man, the numbers would have been super overwhelming. So we wanted to kind of even out the numbers ish. And yeah, that's what ended up happening. That was the KVK. That's how we set up the KVK. Now, going into the first zone. The first zone was pretty successful from us in the beginning. We random teleported. We were able to, you know, TP onto their flag lines. This is the first zone stream. You could see that they had a pretty defensive positioning here. This is the middle. Yeah, I can show you guys in the actual KVK here. This is the middle point here, usually. And usually people try to, you know, build forts around this and try to get to this as soon as possible. This is kind of like the only objective outside of the bastions. It gives 10% march speed, which is pretty, you know, significant. But as you can see, Water Camp was playing pretty defensively here. And honestly, it kind of worked out because once territory actually stabilized... okay, that's a pretty bad example, or we're kind of wiping them there. But once territory stabilized, they were able to go toe-to-toe against us. Just the sheer numbers of 5 camps versus a 960 that only had 5 or 6 marches each was pretty overwhelming at points, and it was a really even fight in zone 5. In fact, like during the uptime, we couldn't really push them that much. We were burning them a little bit, but you know, it was a labored effort. It wasn't free. And, you know, it was a pretty fun 24 hours of that zone 5. Okay, this is... I swear it was more lopsided than this. Why? Why? I'm sure we're just on their territory on this stream. Maybe I'm imagining it. Or maybe I wasn't streaming when it got lopsided. Like, you could see that they got some... I guess they don't have field presence, huh? But they had some field presence, I swear. Maybe it's earlier on in the stream. Yeah, see, like, I'm getting cooked over here. They had, like... a murder ball over here. I mean, they were contesting. You can see we're getting pushed back over here. So it was kind of a back and forth for the first, like, what, 18 hours? And then what happened was Water Camp went into downtime. And when Water Camp went into downtime, we started building a fort. You could see that this is stream number 2. I'm unlocking El Cid Bastion. But we were able to find a pretty good fort spot, like right behind their fort wall that they built. And here, there's a zoom out here. Wait. So they had the fort wall here, and then we were able to build like a fort behind the fort wall, essentially nullifying the fort wall that they had. The thing about forts in these early zones is that they're super painful to rally and kind of swarm down and I guess push against. So we were able to kind of get a fort drop behind their fort wall. Here, wait, let me show you guys. We were able to get a fort drop behind their fort wall, which was really, really good and essentially ended the zone. Like, we were able to build this fort and it essentially ended the zone 5. Because now the fort wall was done. I guess they could have forted around this fort, but I don't know. They saw the writing on the wall. It's like there's no point. Once this fort built, I mean, it was actually a pretty close fight. They had rallies on it. They almost pushed us back a little. You could see this was a pretty intense fight. Water Camp definitely woke up once we dropped this fort. But eventually we were able to build the fort. Let me see if did I end stream when the fort built? Like, they were rallying and sending them open field marches there for like 2 hours, but then within the last hour they kind of like died down a little bit, kind of gave up on the fort. And yeah, we were able to build this fort, ending the zone. I think the fort might still be there. Yeah, it's right here. It's literally right here. This is the fort that we built. This was where the forts were from Water Camp. And yeah, we were able to just burn down the forts, end the zone, and that was the first 24-hour fight that we had in Pass 4 Zone 5. I'm not reading chat. Yeah, I'm not reading chat because both my monitors are being used up right now. Is my screen frozen? Really? Oh. Duh. All right, what do I redo that? Anyways, well, you guys heard it. You guys heard it. Dang it. Anyways, it was Zone 5 recap. The Zone 5 recap didn't matter. Okay, we're gonna go to Pass 7. So what happened was, so for these, oh wow, it's altars right now. I have never touched altars this KVK. But essentially for the altars, we got pings from leadership to be like, all right, we can't contest altars. There's no point. It's 5 kingdoms versus 1. And for those that don't know, you could only bring 1 march to altars. So it would have been like a death wish to fight altars against Water Camp with 5 kingdoms. So we didn't contest altars at all. So the next fight after Zone 5 here was Pass 7. Pass 7 fights are usually pretty sleeper because you could see that there's a fort wall from both sides. We have forts here, they have forts there. Same thing with 1093 and Earth Camp. So usually not much happens in Pass 7s. Let me pull up the script here. Yeah, so our Pass 7 fight initially was also against Water Camp, and we were able to get the first capture on the pass. Let me make sure that it's actually showing this. It is. Okay. We were able to get the first capture on the pass, but the thing about Water Camp is that like they have a ton of numbers, bro. Water Camp have a ton of numbers. So you can see we're trying to push out of the pass. I don't know why the quality is so bad, but we're trying to push out of the pass and all my marches are sad-faced. It's just an absolute ton of marches from them. They're able to get like double rallies off, but we were able to hold it off for quite some time. And this was kind of the trend during the Pass 7, except during their downtime, we were able to push out onto their territory, burn some of their forts. So not much of note against Water Camp for the most part. What was of note though was when we went over to, so what essentially happened was we also built in the Earth Camp Pass. We built this 68E territory over here, and what happened was Earth Camp actually had forts here, but then we made them delete the forts so that we could build touch points towards this pass. But during 1093's uptime and Water Camp's uptime, we were focusing on Water Camp. 1093 were able to burn down the flags that we had here, and they were able to build like kind of a nook. They're able to build like flag coverage and have like this space to build a fort. So what ended up happening was they're building a fort, and if that fort built, it would have been really, really bad for the zone. It would have essentially meant so that we couldn't contest that pass, and they would have full pass control for the rest of the KVK. I mean, they still have pass control till now, but we really want to make sure that we burnt down this fort. So we brought everyone from the left side over to the right side. That allowed Watercamp to take back the pass, or take the pass on the left side. But with the help of Earthcamp, this is essentially a 1 versus 2. Shout out to 1093, because like they were, even though Earthcamp was in downtime, Earthcamp still brought some numbers, but they were pushing us back onto territory. It was a really painful fight against these guys. But we were able to eventually burn down the flags defending the fort. And then eventually, after some time, we're able to burn the fort down. Here, wait, we could probably see it around here. Oh, we're swarming a city. Yeah, you can see that the fort now is undefended. We were able to burn a flag. And then if we push forward here, I don't know if I actually captured the fort burning. Let's see. Yeah, we got the rally coming in. And then the fort was undefended because we burnt down the flags. And then we were able to burn down the 1093 fort. And that's pretty much the only thing of note for Pass 7. There wasn't much else. Like, we were open fielding against 1093. There was, I believe Watercamp dropped the fort in the middle of 960, which honestly I feel like is a first. Here, I think it shows here. Here, yeah. They named it 60 AG in the middle of our territory. What we were saying is, like, we could see if it's our fort or not because it would have been yellow. And they were saying that it would have been smarter if they tried to make it like an 1818 fort, for example, because, you know, we wouldn't exactly know. But either way, I'm sure we would have noticed, and we burnt that down. And then, yeah, the next stream was us taking back the pass that Water took from us. This was the next day. This stream was pretty much just us staring at rallies. Not much going on. This is your typical Pass 7 experience, right? But the rallies are really, really good reports. Let's see if we could find one. Yeah, this is like... There was like a 2-hour rally at one point. And then eventually we were able to take the pass. And then from there, Watercamp prepared for Kingsland. Alright, let me reach out. Everyone drop a like and subscribe. 1093 lost, thought they'd win. Congrats, 960. Start from the beginning? Nah, I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy. I'll edit in the clips when I make this into a video. I'm definitely gonna be making this into a video, by the way. All right. Next is Kingsland. So what happened was I didn't actually stream the opening, the pass opening. I streamed 10 minutes after because that's just a rule in 960 to stream 10 minutes after. So, you know, respecting the rule. But as you can see, 1093 was cooking us in the beginning of Kingsland here. Kingsland was super, super tough against 1093. You could see that they have a lot of open field marches. This was actually a huge choke here. They were able to outbuild us to this area. If we were able to get to this area, then perhaps we would have better territory. But I mean, with the amount of open field that they had, it was super, super tough to even push against these guys and even build against these guys, because 1093 is super smart. They would put the open field where we were going to build flags. They would delay our flag builds over and over and over again, and that made it so that like our territory was kind of cooked. You could see that they're over here. These flags are probably not even filled because they have open field blocking the flags so that, you know, we wouldn't be able to fill it, and they would be able to, you know, build these flags before us. And you can see that they're getting ready for the flag swarm here. And look, they built the territory, and now they're swarming down the flag. And the flag was cooked at that point. We had a secondary flag on top just in case, but yeah, I mean, it was a cooked opening, man. Just to show in game here. We were coming out of the pass. We were able to get the fort hop here, but from here, from the 93T territory, they're able to build out a lot of territory up through this way. to the point where we were relegated to one flag line. Like, we only had one line of flags in the first day of Kingsland. Yeah, they were just able to build a lot more territory than us, a lot faster. We could see that. You could see the territory building up here. Look at this. They're able to build this, deny this territory from us, and then we had like we were just like trying to build as fast as possible. You can see that they're outbuilding us right here. This is a building flag from 1093. We had this line of Kingsland territory. This was it. This was our lifeline for KVK. If we didn't have this line, it would have been over. So yeah, we were like scrambling. It was absolutely mayhem, and 1093 were living in it. They were doing really well. Once territory finally, you know, settled down, we ended up only having one line to teleport on, which was super tough. And it made holding and pushing really tough, because we'd have people that were refreshing from like what, 3 minutes away, 4 minutes away, just due to the amount of territory. Meanwhile, for 1093, they were able to, you know, refresh a bit faster. They had a couple back flags worth of territory, and this is kind of like what we call this rocky road or the ridge of death or something, because we were fighting here like in this exact same spot for hours. We were fighting in the same spot. Like, wait, I'm pushing. This is a full hour later. We're in the exact same spot. Another 30 minutes. We're in the exact same spot. To the point where like I wanted to move to somewhere else. I moved to the other side because I was tired of fighting in the same area. But yeah, the first day of territory, you could see that they're pushing our flags here. We were able to hold it off and get some holds, but for the most part, they're able to at least get to our flags and get a couple burns off as well. Like, we couldn't even approach the rally to swarm it because they just had so much field presence around this flag. Shout out to all the flag fillers around here. I'm pretty sure Addy and Chopper and Aang were just hard stuffing this flag to keep it alive. And yeah, you can see that the flag's still alive here. So it was kind of a back and forth affair once the territory stabilized here. We couldn't really burn them. They couldn't really burn us. At least for the first day. And then let me see. What is next here? The little territory we were able to gain during their downtime was around the ziggurat. Close to our allies. Because what would happen was... because they had such a building advantage on us, they were able to like build a lot of territory that would eventually touch Earth Camp. So Earth Camp was over here. Earth Camp had territory here, but then 1093, because they're able to outbuild us, kind of pushed us away from Zig and even had a touch point with their allies in Earth Camp. And Earth Camp was cooking on this side of the map, but when it came to this side, they really couldn't contest because 1093 was sending open field here. There would be some of Water Camp also sending some field here. And Earth Camp was essentially free burning a lot of territory on this side because we couldn't, you know, help them out or close out Water Camp. So I think one of the big times was the downtime or the evening of day one, because you could see these flags here. We were able to burn a lot of these flags on the left side, essentially cutting off 1093 from Earth Camp. And that was a pretty successful, you can see this is our push onto the flags here. I think Earth Camp even helped us to burn some flags, yeah, because this was Water Camp's downtime. So Earth Camp was like, all right, let's get 1093 off our tails. Let's help 960 burn off 1093 here. And you can see that we're you know, we're burning this flag up here, we're burning this flag over here. We started burning all this territory. And that was a big victory for us. I think that was the first victory, first sign of life that we had this KVK. Oh my gosh, my voice is gone. That's how you know we've been playing too much Rise of Kingdoms when I could barely talk. But yeah, so this is essentially the evening where we were able to burn off these touch points of Earth Camp and 1093, allowing Earth Camp to just solely focus on Water Camp. This is when it started getting dire though. Day 2. Oh my goodness. Shout out to 1093 during day 2. because like day 2 was crazy from 1093. Day 2 was the Saturday, and 1093 started to really push us. Started to really push us during this day. You could see that, you know, this side was pretty even, but this was like going into their uptime. I'm doing a little bit of a map review. You could see that the territory is pretty even. But around this time, they started pushing us heavy. Like, they were pushing us like crazy. They were able to burn a lot of flags. And the thing, look, you can see all these flags over here that we just gained are now burning, and they're starting to work towards Earth Camp yet again. The thing about 1093 that's super impressive is that they're super coordinated. They would have like a rally set, and we'd think that they're going to one flag, and then they would all of a sudden shift to the other flag, and that flag wouldn't have the backup garrisons ready, or the swarmers in the cities ready, or the reinforcements in the cities ready. So they're able to get burns and kind of ping pong us all over the place. And it was like we just couldn't respond because we didn't have the open field, and we didn't have the rotations. The rotations weren't as crisp. We weren't on our game during day 2 for sure. But it was just, this is me trying like the sea whale slash like stand still, and like it was getting pretty bad. My trades were horrible this day. But yeah, you can see that they're pushing us. It looks like I'm fighting in the same area over and over again. Yeah, like look how far they pushed us up here. They're able to get all the free birds on these flags over here. They're able to burn these flags over here. So like let's take a look at, let me see. So yeah, you can see where a territory is. It's kind of like that line that we were looking at earlier. I want to see if when does Ploto Gaming ever give a map review? My goodness, I should do that more, huh? Yeah, you could see by the end of this stream, like it was getting super tough. I'm like swarming down the rally as much. Well, I'm trying to swarm down the rally. I guess I'm not here because it's so deep into the murder ball there. But I was swarming down rallies and stuff. It was rough, to the point where, you know how we had that line of territory? This is what it looked like now. We completely lost the line by the evening. By the time it was their downtime, we completely lost the line. We lost this side of the territory here as well. They're pushing towards our pass. And then they were like it was looking really grim because we could not burn them, and they were just burning us, and they were gaining a lot of ground around this time. And like the only copium we had was to look at Earth Camp and like, hey, look, they're pushing, they're doing well, because we were not making any ground around here, to the point where like we started building forts to make sure that they couldn't free build and free burn us. But I think this downtime of 1093 proved to be crucial, because you could see that we're building flags right now, and it's kind of weird because like why are we building a flag here? We're replacing the MX territory. Like, let's go back here. We're replacing the MX territory with GT territory. So you could see 60 MX, right? This line used to be 60 MX, but because they were like pretty much one flag away from cutting us, we changed the territory that we had here into 60 GT territory. So 60 GT was coming actually out of the left zone 7, the top pass of left zone 7, and we were able to kind of snake territory here and build territory here. This was a really big point for the KVK, because if we had the MX territory and if we kept it as MX, then 1093 would have probably cut us, and then this KVK would have been over. We wouldn't have this territory. They would have been able to push out Earth Camp. It would have been over, would have been done. But what happened was, during the downtime of day 2, we were able to delete 60 MX flags, replace it with 60 GT flags, and luckily enough, you know, 1093 went to sleep, man. 1093 during that huge push that they had, they were in their kind of downtime, so we were able to just, you know, you can see this is their downtime, chat. Look at the open field that they had. They still outnumbered us, bro. They still outnumbered us. I feel like they probably could have played a little bit more aggressive and burnt these flags, Because yeah, we're just building in front of their face, but essentially if they had a couple more people online, stopped the GT flags from burning, kind of pushed into that territory that we're essentially giving them for free because we're deleting our own flags and building flags, I think this KVK would have been over. But you know, we were thankfully, like, it was, you know, kind of a stalemate here. We were able to kind of push them off our flag line. They started getting more and more offline. And then this was kind of like the first sign of life that we had. This was the first sign of life. This was the one win condition that we had. Because before, like, I couldn't even picture 960 winning. There was like no win condition because we couldn't even push them during their downtime. But during day 2 of this pass opening, it's really started opening up for us. We were able to burn a couple flags, start creating some territory, actually have a flag line that had more than one flag, so we actually had teleport space for once. And you can see, like, this stream was pretty much just us pushing and us you know, getting some burns off and getting some territory for once. And this ended up, I think the night of day 2 was probably the most crucial night, because that was make or break. If they continued pushing and kind of kicked us out of our territory outside of the ziggurat there, we would have been cooked for the KVK. We would have been cooked for the KVK. But yeah, we ended up, that night was like the first time we gained territory, and we gained a lot of good territory, a lot of good teleport space. Even like one flag line would be like 3 extra teleport space, which I think the strength of 960 is the strength of each account. So each like teleport spot brings a lot more value than, you know, an average kingdom would have, you know what I mean? Or an average Imperium, or like the average 1093 member, where, you know, they have a lot of strong accounts, but they're more strength in numbers. Meanwhile, we're like strength in terms of quality, and each account teleporting in meant more and more strength going into the front lines. And yeah, that was the end of day 2. We're almost done, chat. This is the day 4 fights, because day 3 we had the Zeroed podcast. I didn't really stream too much, because I kind of want to lock in low-key, because I feel like it's easier to fight off stream, because you could see markers, you could kind of like, you know, follow instructions more, talk on VC. Not that I talked much, but this is me giving a little bit of a territory update. You can see that the territory kind of stagnated. They took our pass last time, now we took it back. We were able to, you know, get some territory down here. We're able to burn some, we're able to gain some territory here. And then we were able, right now we're like burning flags. Day 4 was kind of, so day 4 was Sunday going into Monday, and I don't know exactly what happened to 1093. I feel like it was a little bit of, I mean, people from 1093 could tell, could say, but my inference would be, in day 4, 1093's activity started to die down a little bit, because I would assume perhaps is to get ready for work, or some people were going into their work day or work week, or maybe some people were just out of speed ups and resources. I don't know what exactly happened, but we were cooking. And you know, Earth Camp was here as well, and Earth Camp kind of helped us quite a bit with a couple flag burns. They would help us from the transition of 1093 uptime to 1093 downtime to get the flag burns maybe like an hour or an hour and a half earlier than we would have. Because Water Camp would go to sleep, and then they wouldn't have anything to do, so they would help us get some flag burns. And this is me showing the territory. One thing I will say about day 3 that I feel like might have been a mistake was day 3 was kind of pivotal, because 1093 stopped trying to push us. 1093, they built. You could see that they built territory here, and they were helping Water Camp push out. And then you could see like a little bit of purple in the bottom corner here. They actually had territory. I think they might still have it, actually. Let me go in game here. Yeah, they built territory here to try to help Earth Camp, to help Water Camp against Earth Camp, and they're able to push Earth Camp a little bit. But they kind of split their focus into supporting Water Camp And what ended up happening was we were able to hold the territory that we gained. And day 3 was actually, I didn't really stream it much, but day 3 was the first time during their uptime that we were able to hold territory, and that was because they kind of had a split focus. And then that led into more momentum than day 4. Look how much territory we gained here from day 3. And then day 4 was just gaining more and more territory. You could see that, you know, we're continuing to burn them. We're continuing to open field with them. I mean, they're still really labored and really contested, but you could see that we're pretty deep into their territory. Our ball started getting more and more success. Like, we wouldn't be able to push their ball at all, but during day 4, we were able to push their ball quite a bit, allowing us to give breathing room for our rallies so that they could actually do some damage. And then you could see, like, I mean, they were still pushing. Look at that. They were still pushing. But at the end of the day, like, we were able to gain a lot of territory. And this, I think day 4 was the first time we were able to gain territory during their uptime. Yeah, day 4 was the first time we were able to gain territory during their uptime, which was absolutely huge. I mean, they started getting more and more online by here. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot. Between day 3 and day 4, when we were cooking, there was a maintenance, a 3-hour maintenance, which really pissed off a lot of 960 members, because it was during 1093's downtime, and we would have had 3 extra hours of burning, and that was like super disheartening. But eventually, this is the downtime of 1093 during day 4, the last stream that we had, and it was honestly kind of dead. 1093, I feel like kind of threw in the towel at this point. They you can see that there's no field semblance. There's no semblance of open field. They had a bunch of farm accounts and a bunch of like garrisons around, but that was pretty much it. And we were able to gain a lot of territory during this time, to where when it became their uptime, I think they just called it quits because it was just so much territory that we were gaining. We're even able to gain territory on this top side, which, you know, we were ignoring for quite some time. And yeah, that pretty much leads us to where we are today. That pretty much leads us to our map state today. So we were able to burn off this territory here. Yesterday, we were just free burning them. And now they are pretty much officially out of Kingsland. So that's the recap of the KVK in a nutshell, going through all the streams. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but alright, I could finally re-chat. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys like the story time. Let's see chat reactions here. I was off stream playing in day 3. Yo, see, Will, I was off stream playing in day 3 as well, bro. I mean, see, well, it makes sense that you're low on speeds because you just got the Zenith, but I thought that I was gonna, like, I was so low on resources that I begged Redline to zero his farm accounts and zero his tokens, and I zeroed my farm accounts tokens too, just so I could get some resources to keep fighting in the KVK. And then I was down to, like, I don't know, 1.3k days, and I thought that, you know, this would be a week-long KVK, and I was trying to just follow markers and not really KP chase, but ended up working out. Maintenance pissed me off for you guys as well. Show Zone 5. I think for the rest of this KVK, it's going to be really tough to, like, if we want to get the circles, I don't think they're going to give it for free, guys. I don't know what the plan is from 960 leadership, but there still might be some streams of fighting, depending on, you know, what Water Camp and Wind Camp want to do. There might be some cook streams, and this is Heroic Anthem, so technically if there's cities, we could have a city zeroing stream. If there's still some cities around in their home zones. I think Heroic Anthem's like the only KVK nowadays where you could invade home zones still, which is cool. How much KP have I gotten? I think I've gotten 2.8 billion. Nothing crazy. I started at 23.2 billion KP and I'm at 26. So, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it, especially for a KVK that lasted. I mean, it was like 4 days of Kingsland fighting essentially. This was a 4-day Kingsland, double the length of 2377's Kingsland, but I mean, people were asking which KVK was harder, 2377 or this one. I would definitely say the 2377 one was harder just due to the length of the KVK. It has nothing to do with the strength of the kingdoms. It's just 2377 we were fighting for 3 weeks straight. This one was like we had 1 day of fighting here. We had 3 days of past fights, which I don't really consider a fight really. And then we had 4 days of, you know, good open field fighting, but I think that this Kingsland was a lot tougher than the 2377 one though, for sure. It was extremely tough on both sides, 100%. Hey, Cody with the 5 months, GG's in the chat. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, man. Thank you guys, by the way, for the support these streams. Like it was a pretty tough couple of weeks or months of off season. There wasn't really much content, so I really wanted to come back in a big way this KVK, and I'm hoping to keep the momentum going past this KVK, where we'll continue streaming, continue making content. I'll actually edit videos for once. This stream is going to be edited probably into 3 different videos. So yeah, we'll keep it going and keep the Zero podcast going as well. Yeah, the new tech definitely made it tougher because I feel like it favored 1093 more than it favored 960. Like the new tech definitely helps low spenders, mid spenders. I actually like new tech, but it definitely favors more numbers than, you know, more quality, because it just makes all of your marches have more stats, more like defensive stats. Makes them more prevalent on the field. They don't get one shot anymore. Like they pretty much, there used to be all damage in here. There's no all damage anymore, and it's actually like attack or damage reduction on all marches, which is kind of crazy. We got the most KP between streamers. I mean, I don't know about other streamers. We could actually take a look at that. What do I have? I have a whole itinerary here. Okay. So what I have next is to look at the autarch lists. We could take a look at the kill points, dead points, and heal points of everyone here, and give everyone their props here. So you could see individually, I'm not in the top 100. I'm at 155th place at 689 million autarch points for kills. I mean, you could see that you kill one tier 4, it gives 1 point. Kill one tier 5, it gives 5 points. I kind of wish it scaled with, you know, KP, but that's all good. Al-Haytham at 3.6 billion autarch points is super far ahead. 7 billion pretty much ahead of Aang, which is second. And then under Aang, it's 500 million points. No wait. So Al-Haytham's at 3.6 billion, and then 700 million points is Aang. Below Aang is 700 million points below Al-Haytham. And then below Aang is 500 million points, which is D-Ace. And then there you could see the rest of the field. It's crazy how ahead Al-Haytham and Aang is compared to everyone else, but you can see that there's a lot of 960. I have Douglas up here as well. You know, just a lot of kills to be had. Matt Achilles up here. Genie had 2 accounts up here. Wow, Rubio's up here. That's insane. C Will's up here. Ihara's up here. Papa Boba is like F2P, and this guy is 44th in KP. I don't know how that guy does it, bro. I don't know how he does it. But yeah, we could see the rankings here. Chadsky's up here with his alt accounts. And 100th place is 877 million kill points. For deads, I'm definitely not up there. I'm at 332. Addy's up there in first place. I mean, Addy was swarming flags till... I mean, Addy's still probably swarming flags right now. Going crazy with the swarms here. At 167 million points. Ghost Rider at 154 million. I'm guessing Ghost Rider was the main swarmer of 1093. I will say the way that tech benefited us was it's a lot harder to swarm down flags with the new tech, I think. I think it's a lot easier to play defensive. So the 1093 swarmers, and that's the thing about 1093, the only thing they're lacking is the power to swarm. And, you know, their swarmers took a beating here. You could see Ghost Rider up here, Genie, Aang V2, Al Hytham, these guys are swarming as well. Mad Achilles was one of their main swarmers. Shout out to Mad Achilles. And yeah, you can see that there's a lot of 1093 people up here, because to burn a flag in KVK, especially in these types of KVKs, you have to swarm. You have to swarm. Ihara's up here. C Will is up here. Damn, I feel like I'm slacking now. I think next KVK one, I kind of want to get more power. I started at 106 million power. It didn't have that much. I mean, what I was doing, I got pretty much all my deads from filling rallies. But I definitely want to, you know, contribute more in the dead points, perhaps even with my farm accounts. All right, we have Al Hytham. Oh wow, Al Hytham was 1.1 billion positive in terms of points. That's crazy. We have Addy in second in terms of heal points. Coco, Genie, Aang, D-Ace. We could continue to scroll through here. A lot of people this KVK that usually trade positively traded negatively. This KVK, I'm like, you can see I'm barely positive in this KVK. And going into Kingsland, the first 2 days of Kingsland, I was actually 15 million points negative. It was crazy. I was 15 million points negative. I've never traded negative in a KVK before, but I mean, we were just consistently fighting against more numbers than us, and it was just like our leadership was like, yeah, screw it, just keep going in there. It doesn't matter. Trades don't matter. You just gotta keep putting pressure up into this murder ball here. And yeah, that is the top 100 here of Autark points. Yeah, swarming this KVK hurt 100% Genie. I mean, you would know. You would know with your 2 accounts being top 100 in kill in deads. But you were clutch, Genie, bro. You were clutch, as well as everyone else I was swarming. All right, so that is the Autark leaderboard. Let us go ahead and look at the overall KVK rankings. Wait, let me open up these chests real quick. Ooh, windswept. Nice. Gold, what do we get? Ooh. I don't know why it gives a pop-up for blue commander still. Alrighty. Now let us go to the overall ranking leaderboard. So, Alliance Power, we have 1960, 60 GT. Looks like we're back to 60 GT. Now at 17.6 billion power. You have 1818 at 15.3 billion power. I wonder if that's a mix. Yeah, you can see it's a mix of a lot of kingdoms here. Of 3176 and 1818 in one kingdom here, or one alliance. So they're at 15.3 billion power. We have 3213 at 14.2 billion power. 1786 at 13.9 billion. We have 93T at 13.3 and 93X at 13.3. And we could continue to scroll down here. Okay. Next we have Alliance kills. What? Are we at 5 trillion as an alliance? Do we have some people in MX that are? No, these are all farm accounts. We have like one main account in there. Oh my goodness, we are so close, chat, to 5 trillion KP. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. I'd say with this new tech, all kingdoms rely on more whales because they need them to swarm. Yeah, 100%. Genie and I need a race at Alitham. Yeah, you two have been killing it, man. You two have been killing it. Genie, you and Addy. There's a lot of other. I shouldn't have started shouting out people because it's getting pretty. I will 100% forget a name. Narrates from C Will. Yeah, we're almost at 5 trillion. Perhaps by the end of this KVK, if we keep pushing, we could find 100 billion KP somewhere. I don't know. Probably not, actually. But yeah, we're almost at 5 trillion. 1093 is at 2.6. 1818 is at 2.1. 1093 93X is at 1.7. 86 NS is at 1.2. SIP is at 1. And you can see the rest of these numbers here. All right, next let's go into individual power. We have Boom Boom at 700 million power. We got Addy at Addy went down a ton in power. Holy crap. 328 million power. We have this 1818 player ADLL at 269 million power. We could continue scrolling. Genie down to 184 million power. Oh my goodness. Yo, Genie, since we have Genie and Al Hytham in the chat, hopefully I could hit you guys up and we could make a video about, you know, your account to this KVK. That'd be amazing. We could see how much resources you guys use and how many deads you guys got, how many troops you're gonna get back. It'd be kind of fun. Another Genie account, 166 million power. I'll height them down to 160 million power. Ghost Rider, which was like the winner of pre-KVK, or like one of the top pre-KVK scorers, 146 million power. Genie share? Yeah, I'll hit you up on Discord for sure. You get 60% of troops back, so it's a bit better than just the pure 50. You can see that I'm at 522. I'm ranked 522nd rather, at 90.4 million power. I actually dropped down to 5 marches. And I was gonna keep filling, but the KVK actually ended, so I guess I should start filling the day before I think KVK is gonna end, because I always like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell if I should continue to fill or whatnot, but because I still want to be relevant in the open field, but at the same time, it sucks to just watch rallies die. So yeah, I definitely ran out of archers and cavalry this KVK. But yeah, that's the top 100. How many people are still over 100 million power? Let's see. 100 million power, 100 million power. We have 279 people above 100 million power, so still quite a bit of power in the KVK. But yeah. Saving speeds by full swarming. That's kind of funny. You'll never be rally lead, not in 960. 960 is they got some crazy geared people here. This is the most interesting thing here. We had the first person hit 100 billion KP and the second person to hit 100 billion KP in the same KVK. We have Black Mamba, which used to be Osno, which used to be Ang V0. At 107 billion power. And I mean 107 billion kill points. And we have Ang V1 at 103 billion KP. And if you guys are familiar to this channel, this account might look familiar because this was the Peacemaker accounts, and Peacemaker has finally hit 100 billion KP. Ang V1, I'm bringing him there, so shout out to Ang for, you know, bringing justice and keeping the account, you know, relevant. Al Hytham at 86.9 billion KP. Yo, Al Hytham, if we get a good KVK, Hytham, if we get a good KVK next KVK, I think you could hit 100 billion, bro. I think you could hit 100 billion, but we'll see, man. We'll see. We have Ang V2 over here. We have Genie as well. Addy. We're up at 143rd place at 26 billion KP. And not too shabby. This KVK, I was definitely the least prepared I've ever been. I don't know if you guys saw the resources I went into the KVK with, but I had like 0 resources. So next KVK will definitely be a bit more prepared, and then hopefully, you know, we'll be able to get a little bit more KP. You can see that this is where I'm at, 143rd place. Who's around me? Do I still have more than Cortex? I do. I passed Cortex and KP. He passed me last. I think he passed me in the beginning of this KVK. And then we passed him during he was sick for Kingsland, so kind of used that to our advantage. But yeah, that is the stats. Yeah, we definitely had to work hard for it. I was telling you, day 2, I actually thought the KVK was cooked, guys. I actually thought the KVK was done. But luckily, the leadership and the players, like, they just never gave up, and we were able to find the downtime. We were able to outlast 1093 essentially. If 1093 kept the pressure they had from day 1, they would have won the KVK. But the thing about 960 that is, when I versed them, that I noticed was, they keep the same consistent pressure throughout the whole zone, throughout the whole KVK. And if it's going to be a battle of attrition and you don't have 4 main alliances like 1093 did during that one KVK, 960 will find some way to get back into the KVK. And that's kind of what happened. We were like 1 flag away from losing all this territory, but we kept pushing, we kept persisting, and shout out to the leadership, shout out to the members, and it was yet another fun KVK, my 3rd KVK in 960 thus far. Yeah, shout out to Earth Camp as well. They really came to play. All right, let's go ahead and go back to this, because we got this report manager. I'm going to go ahead and send the link to everyone. Shout out to ROK Stats over here for doing our stats in 960 for this KVK. Coming super clutch. This is the stats. So we're going to be looking at the stats. I'm going to go ahead and, if you guys want to look at it yourself, we'll pin this message. So it kind of gives a good breakdown of all the KP and all the stats of this KVK. We have WinCamp actually getting the most KP and also getting the most points. So 1093 as well as 2027. I like that it also gives a breakdown of each kingdom, so you could see what kingdom did what. So you could see that 1093 got 533 billion KP. 2027 got 39 billion KP. We're only, like, Fire Camp and 960 stats are the same because they're only kingdom in this camp. But I guess technically we did get more KP than 1093 at 561 billion KP. The deads are pretty even actually between the two of us, but they got around 200 million more. They got 200 million more deads than us. Oh no, that's healed. 200 million more healed than us. I'm like, yo, 200 million deads is crazy. Now this is the deads. So we definitely got a lot more deads. Holy. Oh my goodness. They kind of cooked us in deads. Look at that. We had 934 million deads. They had 825 million deads. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. We could look at Earth Camp and Water Camp to compare those stats. So Earth Camp actually got, what is this, 65 million more KP than Water Camp. But Water Camp, they also got a couple more deads. So what is this, 40 million more deads than Water Camp. But you could see 1818 definitely carrying a lot of weight. They were really strong. And then 3213, a surprise, because a lot of people were saying that they're deadweight Imperium. But they also pulled their weight as well. We got 3176 at 59 billion KP, 2296 at 53 billion, and then 2397 at 50 billion. We could see that 2293 at 108 billion KP gained. But they got a lot of deads as well. We got 1786 at 80 billion KP gained. We got 2074 at 61 billion, 2062 at 41 billion, and then 2075 at 43 billion. So 2075, even though people were saying that they all migrated out, they still showed up for this KVK for sure. 43.5 billion KP. But yeah, those are the camps. We could look individually here. Al-Haytham in first place in terms of points. You could see their KP efficiency, which is kind of cool too. Oh yeah, and you could see their how much KP they've gained, how much deads they've gained, how many deads they have overall. This is a pretty cool website actually. Al-Haytham at 16.7 million deads, but Addy at 33.5 million deads is crazy. Oh my goodness. So let's look at some numbers. Who do you guys want to see? Who do you guys want to see in terms of like individual stats? We could look at Ploto. So I'm down 13.6 million power. I've gained 2.6 billion KP. Gained 2 million deads. Healed 134 million troops. And I traded at 104%, so barely positive there. Cortex? Yeah, let's look at Cortex. Cortex, so I'm at 2.8 billion. He's at 2.5. So it doesn't mean I win the KP competition this time. I mean, he did trade a lot more positive than me. Look at, he traded like 10% more positive, 115%. I got 100k more deads, 100,000 more deads than me as well. Ghost Rider, Ghost Rider, 30.9 million deads for Ghost Rider, 6.9 billion KP. Ghost Rider, I mean, he got a lot of KP, but most of his contribution is from deads. Oh my goodness, this guy was 197 million power down. Show Redline. Redline's not in this KVK, sadly. Redline farm. Did Redline's farm actually do anything? Nah, Redline wasn't even in this KVK. Let's check out Ihara, I think. Another content creator. 5 billion KP for Ihara. Wow, she killed it. Look at her trades. Oh my goodness. She was just running it. Yo, for the kingdom. Am I right, Ihara? Oh my goodness. 83.43% efficiency for Ihara. I actually respect that heavy. I respect people that trade negatively heavy, bro. Ihara was just, and she got 8 million deads as well. Shout out to Ihara. Douglas. How'd I? There's probably like some special characters. I mean, we could sort by KP. Oops. KP. He should be somewhere here. Am I wrong? Yes. Douglas here. Yeah, it has a special D. Got 3.1 million deads. 8.3 billion KP. Pretty solid. Seawill, 5 billion KP, 7.4 billion million deads. I mean, for Seawill standards, this is actually pretty low. Seawill usually trades like 1 for 3 in the KVK. He traded 126%, which is still really good for the KVK, especially since we're outnumbered the whole KVK. But he's traded pretty negatively for Seawill standards. Piltong, really? I mean, Piltong was always like in the weak side, bro. 51%? Oh my goodness. His farm account got better trades. Oh my gosh, Piltong. 10 million deads. 1.3 billion KP gain. Piltong is like the member that you always need in a KVK. Has the best infantry set. Always down to, he doesn't even look at KP, bro. He's just all about objectives. He's like, you know, garrisoning the flag all the way in the other side of the KVK by himself with his farm accounts. Yeah, Seawill, you were tanking, bro. You were tanking. Let me see. Dirty Dan. 30. Dan? Dirty Dan. Yeah, he has special characters. Dirty Dan, 1.8 billion KP, 2.1 million deads, 92.55 efficiency. So traded negative actually. Good stats from Dirty Dan. We'll do like 3 more. Pushy. I think he changed his name back to Achilles. Mad Achilles. Yeah, he did. Mad Achilles, 16.6 billion deads is crazy. He traded positively. Look at him. 117% positive for him. Really good trades from Mad Achilles. And 6.2 billion KP. Papa. Alright, let's check. Papa Baba or Boba. I don't know how to say his name, bro. Bro, he traded 219% positive. Chat, he's F2P. $4.8 billion KP, F2P, 2.7 million deads. This guy, how does he do it? Bro, how does he do it? He has 5 billion KP F2P? Yeah, this guy's always online too. I hear his Italian accent in VC all the time. He won't accept flex? Yeah, so he wants a Minamoto head, bro. He wants to keep the Minamoto. What am I doing wrong, bro? I got 2.8 as someone that spent like 1K on the KVK. What am I doing wrong, chat? All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Geo. Fine. This was Star's old account, right? 5.4 billion KP, 1.8 million deads, 128% KP ratio. Pretty good. I mean, definitely did a lot more than me. 5.4 billion KP. Oh, Chiss. Yeah, Chiss. Let's do Chiss and let's do Chiss and Chatsky for sure. Chiss 122% positive, 1.7 billion KP, 2.5 billion deads. Chad, and this is gonna be the last one. Chad, 3.9 billion KP, 1 billion KP more than me. 3.4 million deads. And he actually traded. Like he was saying, he was super negative. But Chatsky maxed like bundles so that he could get gems, so he could gem heal at the hospital. That guy was actually 0-0'd, which was crazy. But he's pretty much 1-for-1. Oh, mole. Let's check. Okay, I saw moles in the chat. Let me check out moles. Last one.
Little do you know how I'm breaking while you fall asleep. Little do you know I'm still haunted by the memories. Little do you know I'm trying to pick myself up piece by piece. Little do you
Shout out to Moles for tanking. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I mean, this KVK was hard to trade positive in, not gonna lie. I feel like this is like the hardest field that we've had to play against, really. At least thus far that I've been, the past 3 KVKs that I've been in, the 2049 one, the 2377 one, and the 1093 one. This field was probably the hardest field that we've versed. I think, like the first two days were really tough. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, so individual stats, we already went over it, but we'll go over it again. I'm at 2.8 billion KP. I've gotten 2 million deads, healed 134 million troops, and I'm trading at 104% efficiency. Let's go ahead and see what dead troops I got. So you guys know, they were all T5. None of them were siege. This was, all legit deads. You could see that we had a lot of archer rallies, and I really wanted to run 3 archer marches, but I just kept filling the rallies to the point where I had to run 3 cav marches. But then when I ran 3 cav marches, they started doing cav rallies. So then I ran out of cav for 3 marches as well. So I ended up, like, the last 2 days of KVK or Kingsland, I was running 2 marches pretty much. But I mean, I was running Nevsky Williams, so honestly, you guys kind of saved me some speed ups and resources by letting me run 6 marches. You can see that we get 60% back, so we'll be able to get a couple troops back. We're definitely going to need to train during the off season a little bit to get back to where we were. This is the resources I used. You could see that 13.6 billion food, 12.3 billion wood, 11 billion stone, and 10.1 billion gold. We have, and then we'll get like 1 billion each in return. And you can see our kingdom, we got 989 million deads, so we'll have special tickets. But to be honest, we didn't even use all our special tickets last off season, so I don't know what the plan for migration will be for 960. We'll see. I'm sure we'll migrate in some people. Next, let us go ahead and look at what we have left. So this KVK was, because I did not prepare for the KVK, I pretty much zeroed my bag. You could see I have 0 food, pretty much really low wood. I didn't go through my stone, 0 gold. But look at my items, bro. I have 0 items nowadays. So I'm hoping, Will, if you're still watching this, don't kick me from 960, even though I didn't do too well, because if I migrate out, I have 0 resources for the next kingdom. Oh my goodness. I've zeroed my my bag here, but we have except for stone for some reason. Stone I just always have for some reason. And then this is my speed ups. So we have 1.2k days of universal speeds left. I started the KVK. I peaked the KVK actually at 2.9 thousand days. But now we're at 1.2. So it was definitely a pretty costly KVK. Yeah, I need to chain like an F2P. Bro, I'm already on it, man. I've actually been chaining, and you know what? I've actually been trying to make farm accounts. More farm accounts. Yo, Nips, I thought you guys had us in day 2 as well, bro. I thought you guys had us in day 2 as well. GG's to 2293 and your crew.
Congrats, bro. I thought we had you after day 2. Tears of joy, tears of joy.
Do I like it hard, Ploto? Oh, I don't even know why I read that out, bro. On my way, SMH. And yeah, this is the amount of troops I have left. So I have, less than 1 million T5 infantry, 1.2 million T5 cavalry, and 900k T5 archers. Still, I mean, I probably could have still opened field fight for maybe like another 4 to 5 days if the KVK was going on. I like to pace myself because I've been zeroed in a KVK feeling useless, and it's the worst feeling. But yeah, this one ended a little. I thought it would end like on Thursday, tomorrow, but yeah, we just gained a lot of territory during their during their downtime, and I guess during their uptime they're like, yeah, it's wraps. We have work to do anyways in real life and all that. So all right, now let's go ahead and look at our individual trades. Let's look at our marches. I didn't update the report manager, so forgive me for the question marks. Cubus Mike, I don't mean to demean your product or anything, but I've been busy, bro. I've been busy. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull up while reading chat. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think everyone's back to 1 shell. Okay, so this is how my March is traded. So this is the Cubis mic report manager. Shout out to Cubis for sending this over. How should we? Let's do it by KP ratio, kill point ratio. So my best trading March by far was QSH with Zhuge Liang. He traded pretty much at a 3% or at a 1-to-3 ratio or 3-to-1 ratio. At 600, he kind of cooked. But my second March even was I didn't really use him too much because that's when I was running out of archers. My second March though was even QSH with YSG, and you could see that he accounted for 640%, 640 million KP. Like I gained 2.8 billion KP, and this March alone got me 640 million KP. It's pretty crazy, man. Then the third best March was BQ with Liu Che trading at 407, trading at 1.4. Okay, my second best March was QSH with YSG trading at 2.1, gaining 640 million KP, which is absolutely insane. My third best March was BQ with Liu Che, gaining 470 million KP at a 1.3% ratio, and then it goes downhill from there real quick, chat. We have Ashurbanipal with YSG at 3.3 million. I think I only used him for Zone 5 fights, which is why there's barely any KP gained. I barely use this guy. Like, I only used him for 14 minutes, so nothing crazy. And then we go into the negatives here with Arthur and Philip. I actually think Arthur Philip's a good March. I just feel like with the new tech, and if you don't micro your cavalry go all over the place, man. Your cavalry go all over the place. I don't know what's going on. But my cavalry was going insane, just running it down every single murder ball fight. Gained 220 million KP, traded at a 0.98, so barely negative. Then we also have the next Arthur March, which is Arthur and William. This is when I was running 2 cavalry at 0.95%, gained 163 million KP. Next we have Zhuge with Philip, which was when I was running 3 archers, trading at a 0.87 at 137 million KP gained. Then we have Ragnar with Scipio at 0.85, trading at a 288, getting 288 million KP. And then we go to the super negative, chat. We go to the super negative with Zhuge Liang with Herman, which is crazy because that used to be the best archer march in the game. Now it's trading negative for me at 0.72%. I'm gaining 153 million KP, but giving the opponents 213 million KP in return, which is kind of tough. And then we have Ashurbanipal with Herman, which was my third archer march that I was running when I was running 3 archer marches. So this had the leadership gear, so kind of makes sense that it was trading negative. It's my worst set of gear, worst armaments. 0.65% negative here. And then we have the Hua Chubing with Joan of Arc at 0.58%, trading super negatively there. That was my secondary cavalry march. And then my third cavalry march is absolutely disgusting. It's the Nevsky with William, 0.46% negative at 97 million KP gain, giving away 209 million KP. This guy was just out here to give KP to our opponents, but yeah, that was it. Overall, my trades are heavily positive due to QSH. Without QSH, my trades would have been cooked. So shout out to QSH for saving the KVK for me, I guess. But yeah, those were my marches. Those are the marches I ran. If I were to change things up, I'm definitely going to be training a lot of archers in the off season. so that I could run the 3 archer marches more. I also need to work on my 7th set of gear, is what I'm learning, because my 7th set of gear is leadership. The reason why I'm running leadership is because I kind of want it to be flexible. So if I wanted to run a siege march, I could run a siege march. If I wanted to run an archer march, I could run archer march, cavalry march, infantry march, infantry march. And if I'm getting rallied, I could also put it on my Heraclius if I needed to. But what that means is that my 7th march always trades pretty negatively. Although it didn't trade too bad when it was archers, which is 0.65%. It was, I mean, it was pretty bad, but it wasn't horrible. So yeah, I don't know. Nev sucks now. Yeah, Nevsky does suck. I feel like Seawell made a video about how he got shadow nerfed, so I feel like that is true. But yeah, that is it for the recap of KVK. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone want to see anything before we call it quits today? Let me see if anyone else is streaming, actually. Rise of Kingdoms. Again, shout out to our opponents, shout out to our allies. It was a hell of a fun KVK. If you guys enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we'll keep it going for sure. I definitely want to keep this momentum up. We will have the Zero podcast every Sunday, and we'll try to find some things to do in the off season. I don't know what exactly the plans are, but we'll find something, man. We'll find something. How many skips will 960 have? I think we'll probably ask 960 that in a podcast. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but we're definitely gonna have them on the podcast yet again to kind of talk about the KVK, what they thought, all that kind of stuff. Will 2268 Ploto get some farms to fill again? Yo, I'm trying to, this off season I want to migrate in more farms because my farms right now have just been to gather resources. I actually built farms before I migrated to 960, and I'm still trying to get those farms in, low-key. I'm still trying to get these farms. I'm trying to build up these farms so that I could use them sometime. 0 skips. Top 10 kill ranking. You'll have more farms next off season. Yeah, Calvin, we'll have more farms for sure. Yeah, we'll have. Well, I mean, I didn't ask Seawell, but if Seawell wants to go on the Zero podcast, we'll for sure have him on. I mean, I'd love to have other kingdoms on as well from this KVK. I don't know if 1093 would want to go on the podcast. Perhaps we could have Chadsky and 2293. Some people from 2293 on there. Perhaps we could have 1818 on there as well, or some of our allies. We'll see. We got a lot of options. But yeah, it was a fun KVK for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. Hopefully I definitely enjoyed playing it. The Kingsland was super fun. Before that was kind of sleeper. Chad and Chiss, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we could try to have them on. We'll see. Let me see if anyone's...
Share me your KD, brother.
I don't see any English streamers except for this one. I don't even know if this guy has... Oh, randomly raid someone. See if this guy got raids on. Nah. Have some players. I mean, maybe we could ask Dirty Dan and some players to be on, but it'd be interesting to see for sure. Trying to find a stream I could raid. Oh, this guy looks like he speaks English. Alright, someone's doing a sleeper. I'm gonna go ahead and raid him. You guys could stay if you want to. If not, then I'll probably be streaming. I don't know. We'll definitely have the Zero podcast on Red Light's channel on Sunday. I'm gonna be editing this down into video, so you could expect that within the next couple of days. And we will, keep it going. We'll keep the content flowing. And I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys later. Maybe a chaining stream, who knows? I'll catch you guys later. We're gonna raid this person called Lazy Sultan. They're doing a sleeper project or something. I don't know what a sleeper is, to be honest. They got face cam on everything. They got a better stream setup than me. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.